Hello and welcome to a very special episode of In Our Defense. Special because this is the 50th episode of In Our Defense. Abhishek, how do you feel?
50, half century is complete.
Half century.
Yeah. So approximately a year, almost. I think this is when we started,
Yeah. 52 makes a year, so yeah.
isn't it? So it's almost a year and non-stop. No, even when we are away on
When you were in Ukraine, for example.
Ukraine, of course.
We started off with that.
Yeah,
actually,
5 episodes from Ukraine. Whenever I've traveled in between, we've taken leaves, vacation. You went for your
Yes.
wedding, but we still managed.
Managed it, yeah.
So I think that's more of a feather in a cap
Yeah.
than just the number of 50, that it's uninterrupted 50. And thanks to Anna, our producer, who always, ensured that we come up with some jugaad,
Yeah.
in those kind of circumstances.
Yeah, exactly.
When we were not here physically,
Yeah.
but the podcast went.
But also, I think she scammed me at least. I don't know about you, because I was told it was just going to be like this closed room. आपको कुछ नहीं करना है, आपको बस बैठना है, बातें करनी है, जैसे आप normally करते हो. So I was like, हाँ ठीक है. And then suddenly we moved to video, and now I have to go to the washroom before I walk into the studio, just make sure my hair is fine or not, and is my shirt buttoned up properly or not? It's just like I it's so new for you because you've been doing TV for a while. I am a deskie in the.
Do you also go to the makeup room for a touch-up?
Not yet.
I think you can next try that.
A day might just come and I was
You-
like,
you can try.
Dev, तुम्हारा चेहरा ना थोड़ा जम नहीं रहा है, थोड़ा.
I've never done it, by the way.
Oh, अच्छा.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, new experience for me, being on camera. I've never done that in my life before. I work with Abhishek and did a group, but I'm behind the scenes, so to speak, on the desk, not visible to our readers, to our listeners, now our viewers. But it's a fun experience though. I think a lot hasn't changed even after we started being on camera. And last week itself, actually, someone asked me, कि आप लोग, Abhishek and you, do you guys have a script? Do you guys read from it? And I'm guessing if our viewers or listeners are wondering, we don't actually, there are times when we don't even know what to talk about, even when we are sitting and just about to begin recording. क्या बात करें?
I think scripting it just defeats the purpose
Yeah,
of what
exactly.
we intend to do.
Yeah.
We want to keep it extremely spontaneous, extremely, intense at the same time, and very real.
Yeah.
The moment you script it, there'll be censorships.
Of course.
You'll self-censor
Second
yourself.
thoughts.
Second
Should I say this,
thoughts.
should I not? Yeah.
So I love the format when it's not censored.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it's not scripted, I
Yeah.
mean.
And in fact, I think it's like what the conversations that we have on this podcast are almost like the conversations we used to have before, if you remember, when we met outside.
Yes,
the
and
office
that
at a
was the
party,
idea,
yeah.
isn't it? That
Just
was the idea that
chit-chatting.
the kind of discussions we have outside in the newsroom,
Yeah.
let's translate all of that into
Yeah.
a new product,
Yeah.
which is In Our Defense.
Yeah. So, for our viewers, if you're wondering, is this a script in front of me? It's not actually, just notes, because since I'm not used to this format so much, I just scribble down things so that I have it in mind that this is something I want to talk about. And one of the things that I want to talk about is for you to let us know what you think of our podcast. 50 episodes now, if you've been listening to us from day one and since whenever you joined. But do let us know what you think. If you're watching us, do leave a comment on the YouTube platform. Or if you are just listening to us on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, drop us a rating. Let us know what you think. You can drop a text to us at 8588 966 996 or an email to us at pods@indiaday.com. That's pods@indiaday.com.
Even if you don't like us, put it, but no abuse.
No abuse, yeah. Abuse chalega actually. It's fine. Chalega.
नहीं यार, मेरे साथ नहीं चलता.
अच्छा नहीं चलता.
No.
I can, ठीक है, okay, no problem.
Things should remain in the realm of civility.
Right. ठीक है.
While it's a Fauji podcast,
Actually, yeah.
but still it should remain in the realm of civility. After all, we are civilians.
Our Fauji is known for abuses or abusing. It's very...
That's camaraderie.
Okay. I asked the question to the wrong person, and now let me introduce our special guest for the 50th episode. His name is Major Samar Toor. Hello, Major Toor. I'll let Abhishek talk about Major Toor. He's known him for a while. So, Abhishek, tell us
Actually,
about-
we go back a long way, Samar and myself, but I didn't know this until we started to interact as professionals. we are both from the same school. He's junior to me from Sherwood College, Nainital. The reference of Sherwood has come so many times in our podcast because it has a big Fauji legacy, isn't it, Samar? And when I got to know that you are a fellow Sherwoodian, I actually felt quite proud.
Thank you.
That at least there's somebody, a young guy, who kept the tradition of the great institution going. Most of us, like me, are guilty of not doing that. We did not think of joining the forces. And, the legacy is great.
Yeah.
The first Field Marshal, first Paramveer Chakra, Major Somnath Sharma, several 3-star officers, I think a couple of Mahavir Chakras as well.
Yes.
Isn't it? I mean, that's a legacy that a regiment would be proud of. Extremely proud of. Even regiments don't have this kind of a legacy, isn't it? So thank you, Samar, for keeping the Sherwood flag flying high. I can say that. But other than that, he's a colourful character. I'll put it this way. So he served in Siachen. He has served in conflict in South Sudan. Many people go there. It's not that he's the first one to have gone there, but there's a post named after him.
Oh, okay.
And more recently, 2019, I think he was part of some great action in Kashmir. I think it was a precursor to abrogation of Article 370 in a way. Yeah. A lot of things happened. So that's the introduction that we can give. That's the build-up to what we are going to share. So where do we start from? Do we start from Siachen? Do we start from South Sudan? Or do we start from the most contemporary events? I think
let's start from the question I asked. Are army guys known for being very abusive?
Okay, you take that. And then I'll give my perspective of being a defense journalist.
Well, not all of them, but being from the infantry, yes. I mean, gali ke bagair, things are out of sync. So that's how, see, in infantry, there are tough men around you. And when tough men are around you, you definitely got to go a level up above them and become tougher or toughest. So initially when you join as a new officer, so you're usually soft and you're like, lot of empathy, compassion ka quotient is more than you being rigid, being more practical, being more training oriented. So, you just want to get along well with the troops initial phase.
Yeah, of course. You want to make friends with them.
Exactly, because I am a part of that family. I am a new addition to the family. So, that feeling of being accepted by them. So, in Rome, do what Romans do. वो उस adjustment के दौरान the threshold of your patience is taken beyond limits. And then, slowly, वो कहते हैं ना कि it's a very funny thing. कहते साहब पहले आए थे तो बहुत ही अच्छे थे, पर जैसे ही सीनियर होते गए बिल्कुल ही कड़क हो गए और अब तो किसी की सुनते ही नहीं. So that ratio of being, it becomes good, bad, and then it becomes the ugly.
Also, I think it's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
I think when you enter, as he said, you want to be accepted. You want to make a statement that I'm part of you. And then suddenly you get into a comfort zone.
Yeah.
That now I belong to this place. तब खड़ूस हो जाते हैं. And I think by the time you move up the ranks, I think it's in that compassion state. Sometimes, again, by the time you're a CEO, you have to sort of balance it out.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So it's a cycle that
ताली एक हाथ से तो बचेगी. So by the time you're CEO, you're like, I was too harsh on these guys. अच्छा मेरी कमांड आ गई है. अच्छा आप लोग ना ऐसे करना, इसे रहने देना. Like यार CEO बनने के बाद ना अब ठीक हो गए हैं. Or at times, after an officer gets married, so the temperament kind of lowers down a bit. So men are usually at ease कि चलो busy रहता है, अब शादी हो गई इसकी. His focus is little less on us. So घर वाली side पे ज़्यादा ध्यान है, तो it's okay. We are the safer zone.
Some infantry regiments, are completely different culturally to what your own culture could be.
Yes.
I'm not sure in your case if how true is it, but at least because yours is a North Indian culture kind of a unit that you belong to. So maybe those big cultural differences weren't there. But what was that one or two things that you said, "Yaar, ye kya hai?" when you joined your Pulton? Culturally, how are you going to sort of?
I'm a Sikh officer. ठीक है.
Yeah,
I'm born a Sikh.
Yeah.
But when I was nominated the Pulton,
You can tell us.
yeah,
8 Rajrif.
so 8 Rajrif. So that is the time when I realized, I got to know with time, within like a week, that acha 50% Rajput, 25% Jat and 25% pure Muslim.
So remember, we've had when we
episode
were
on this,
discussing, we've discussed in the past the big debate of whether the regimental system should be done away
Yeah.
or not.
No, it can't be done away with.
So an infantry officer will always say
The
that.
system
what
will
he said back then, yeah.
the system will crumble.
That's an infantry officer's view.
Yeah.
But that's a larger, longer debate. We won't get into that today. But what I'm saying is that we have.
See, I don't find any scope of debate in that topic, because when a group of soldiers together have a commonality in them for a common objective, are more motivated than an overall mixed number of troops whose motivational pattern will fluctuate in terms of a commonality of their own state people or brotherhood. वो फर्क पड़ता है. Now, supposing a guy from Kerala is in a Punjabi Pulton, but वहाँ पे he will get along well with the Punjabis there. But if he finds even one Keralite in that Punjabi Pulton, he would come into his comfort zone with that guy.
Yeah.
So that is the exact mindset where we are talking about regarding this. So I think it kills the question of any argument that we should do away with the regimental aspect, because the key secret ingredient is exactly this, the commonality factor that we hold. That is, that we are from a particular community and we have to get pride to our community. Because I remember, why do Parsis feel proud of Field Marshal Manekshaw? Not that everybody is not proud, everybody is proud. But why does the Parsi community stand out and say, yaar, हमारा बंदा था? I mean, Hanif sir was martyred in Siachen. So the sector, it's itself named Hanif sector.
Yeah.
We take pride in saying that, he's our regimental officer, despite he being a Muslim. So the secret ingredient is that, yes, the variety of communities together under one common name, that is the regiment. So regimentation is very important. Within the regimentation, we have companies based on caste.
Yeah, so you were coming to this that when you entered, you realized that there's a different component.
I mean, as a Sikh and being from civilian mindset, I wouldn't. This is not a correct platform for me to state anything, because all that is now irrelevant. Because I was proved wrong when I joined the army. Yeah, ऐसा कुछ है ही नहीं. There is no difference. Because once a bullet comes your way, I am not bothered whether he is a Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christian, Buddhist,
You mean
or a Jain.
your fellow soldiers?
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, what matters to me is life. I got to protect him. And if I'm going to protect him, he's going to stay alive. And he is also with the same mindset that I'm thinking. that मुझे सांप को protect करना है, that is how he will protect us. So that is how we have been carrying each other along for n number of years now. It's been more than 70 years. That's how we work.
So
That's how
culturally,
it-
what was different for you?
the challenging aspect was being a Khalsa. I was told, okay, you are going to be a part of the Charlie company. That is the Muslim company. अब मैं पूरी उम्र गुरुद्वारे गया हूँ, मंदिर गया हूँ, मस्जिद में कभी पैर रखा नहीं था. So Tuesday there was a mandir parade, so I went. And a night before Friday, Thursday night को orders आ गए थे कि साहब कल इतने बजे मस्जिद है, तो वहाँ पे उपस्थित होना है सबको. So I went, I was not much aware, but then I saw everyone washing their hands and feet, face. So, in Rome, do what Romans do. I followed the drill, and then I went, I sat, and before sitting, one soldier came with me with a tray of the headgear,
The skull
the
cap.
skull caps. So I took and wore it, and we were asked to sit. And आगे all the troops ने अपनी नमाज अदा की, and Maulvi Saab was there, and Pandit ji and all other castes, troops, everyone, officers, we all used to sit and attend. So once you're in the olive green, the religion of your troops becomes your own religion.
True.
So जब वो रोजे रखते थे, I used to be so guilty conscious. How can I eat when they are hungry?
So what did you do?
I kept rosas.
Lovely. These are the lovely stories of Indian Army that often get lost. Isn't it?
True.
So that is the actual power of unity, the actual power of what our motherland and their defenders hold in them.
So when रोजे रखते थे, then what was the highlight? The सहरी in the morning or रोजा खोलना शाम को?
शाम को रोजा खोलने की लड़ाई इतनी नहीं होती थी जितना it was mentally tough to get up early morning at 2:30.
So did you do that or did you skip?
I did follow it, but at times initially रात के 1:30 बज रहे हैं, the troops are waking me up, साहब सहरी का टाइम होगा. मैं 1:30 बजे रात के कहते सुबह, after this you can't eat whole day or have water. I was like perforce, मैं कहा पानी पिलाओ यार पहले. I have to load myself up. Then throughout the day we used to go about our work.
And where were you serving?
Everywhere, wherever we served, be it Siachen, be it South Sudan, be it Udhampur, or wherever we were, Faizabad, Ayodhya, wherever we were deployed, we followed. जब ईद आती थी and Ramzan, रोजे का महीना होता था, we used to follow. We used to follow all festivities of Rajputs and of Muslims. And जब गुरपुरब होता था, they used to come and greet me.
That was more of a personal thing.
Personal, because obviously it's
not a Paltan
it's
thing.
not a Khalsa Paltan or a regiment, so that's why. But they had that regard that हमारा company officer or a company 2IC company commander is a Khalsa, so we must actually go greet him. It's his festival today. So that's how things. This is the uniqueness. This is the strength of our forces, which the youth need to know. I mean, there's so many imaginary lines drawn and so much of limitations these days कि ये नहीं करना, इससे नहीं interact करना, not to have this, not to do that. It's unnecessary clutter and chaos. Once in Fauj, it's all streamlined, it's all focused.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before in our podcast that when General Naravne became the chief, he was from Sikhlai. And in his first address to us, to journalists, it was a short, not a press conference, but just a short message and maybe a few questions. So it was New Year's. So he started with मैं वाहेगुरु से प्रार्थना करता हूँ, ना सबको नववर्ष की शुभकामनाएं. And there was a lot of reference to वाहेगुरु salutations that are again very Sikh.
Yeah.
So a lot of people asked me, colleagues, friends, he's not a Sikh.
He's a
gentleman.
Maharashtrian, right?
Yeah, he's a Maharashtrian.
Maharashtrian,
Yeah. So why was he referring to all this? So I was pretty okay with the idea because I knew,
You knew,
the background
you knew,
and
yeah.
the culture. So I explained to these people that this is a very common infantry Fauji culture, that you, as he said, that you adopt the religion of your troops,
Yeah.
and the officers are actually in minority, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So it's a great leveler.
I mean, I've seen South Indian troops donning beards and turbans now, talking fluent Punjabi. Wow. And suddenly, with the change, they'll come back to English and their Tamilian language. And I used to be aghast and surprised. Here, this guy's Punjabi is better than mine. So, this is the secret ingredient, perhaps, that we possess.
And you're right when you say that, these are stories that are often lost because if you were to read about whatever literature is available about the army, this is not something that's often discussed. I mean, this is actually, we've discussed this, but I think even I came to know about this once we started having these chats.
Yeah.
And especially when we explored this whole idea of regiments and whether
Yeah,
they
yeah.
should exist because of a controversy there was
Yeah.
last year. I don't need to go there, but that's when you kind of start talking about, and now that he's described his experience, it's just like even more real of just how it is like.
Just diverting a bit, we in the beginning we were talking about why we don't have a script. So we don't have a script for this,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
So but I do have sort of a talking points in my head. This wasn't one of the talking points in my head.
Exactly, yeah.
But just
So this is the beauty of this
Yeah,
non-scripted
exactly, yeah.
kind of a conversation.
and
कि कहाँ से कहाँ, just because you
Imagine
shared.
we started talking about our army guys abusive.
Yeah,
And then we
and where have we reached, isn't
I
it?
mean,
Just because
Exactly.
you shared a lovely personal insight,
Yeah.
Yeah,
तो कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच गए हम? So that is the
is
beauty of this format.
true.
So I don't know. It started off on a great note. I think
Yeah.
this might just.
And I want to give one message to the Gen Z, the generation next, that I'm glad I was never taught about religion. I take pride in it. I was taught rather about humanity. It's first how you represent yourself to another human being, how you treat another human being first.
True.
First, you got to be humane, empathy, sympathy. Then being judgmental comes much, much later. First, you got to become spiritually connected. You can't be a one-track religious bent of mind person. That creates rigidity. That blocks your level of acceptance in a secular country. And the beauty part about my upbringing is I studied in a Christian school. I attended church on Sundays. Every day we used to read the Bible.
You go to chapel every day. Yeah.
Whenever I was on chutti, I went to the gurdwaras. Any Hindu festivities, I went to the temples with my parents. And once I joined Fauj, I even attended masjid. I mean, the amalgamation of all the Mecca, Medinas and the religions, sabke darshan kar chuka hu. And end of the day, what I realized, what I learned in life is, you have to be a better human being first.
Yeah, true.
Only then will you be accepted by others. If you can't have that prospect in your mindset, you are blocking a lot of opportunities for your own upcoming generations, your children and their upbringing. I mean, I would never discourage. Teach your youngsters the basics of religion. But it is up to their wish and will what they want to follow. So I become more of a spiritual person. I always was. And the beauty of it is when in Siachen we were there and these radio intercepts we used to listen at times. At times there were exchange of words with the enemy side. The beauty part is that my Muslim troops used to begin abusing the enemy side before I could utter a word. So they wanted to put me in a comfort zone that you needn't get worried. We are handling them in terms of verbal exchange.
In terms of mind games.
Yes. So I was, I took a breather there. Ki, chalo, at least they will not have any pre-notion about my thought process or anything like that. But I always avoided it. It's better to put a bullet into the enemy than, just verbal exchange. That's non-effective.
Non-effective.
So
Nicely put.
that's the thing. So I'm glad where things are today and how I am bringing up my children. I since a kid, I was in the hostel. Then we grew up. Then college came. Then I joined the army. I never got a chance to keep cash. Now both my sons are keeping a Judah. I have a lovely wife who's very religious, who prays every day. And but I remain in my own zone of spirituality because it's too late for me to
Yeah, it's
change
too late, of course.
or to adapt one particular mindset now. So basically, I've devoted myself to my religion called patriotism. So they ask me what religion do you follow? I usually say patriotism. I mean, I worship my country. That's what I've learned. And I think till the day I breathe my last, that is what I'm going to take away with me.
Lovely. That's a lovely thought. And, he speaks, I'm guessing you guys must have had many chats. But for me, this is the first time I'm meeting him. And one of the revelations to me is that he speaks as a person who's seen life.
Yeah.
Unlike some of the keyboard warriors of today's generation who, like they think कि हमें पता है क्या होता है, but like this is a person who's been to Siachen, this is a person who's been to South Sudan, and his experiences are quite, vivid. And I'd like to move on to his experiences and particularly talk about Siachen. So you said, where should we start from? Siachen.
Yeah, see, the
Personal
reporter
favorite
in
for
me wants some masala and some great information that's not in public domain.
We'll come to that. But Siachen,
Because
so
he's privy to a few things
Yeah.
that are not in the public domain. I'll be more than grateful to him and happy if we can share it on this platform.
Yes.
When do you want to draw him to do that? I leave it to you.
Right.
But without that, this podcast isn't ending.
Definitely. And we'll definitely come to that. But Siachen, I'll tell you why. And this is something we've discussed, I think, once. He probably doesn't know is that I wanted to join the army actually once. I gave my UPSC for the NDA. And I went for the SSB. And I think you would ask me during one of the episodes. But I was asked the same question by the officer who was interviewing me. He was a naval officer. It was a Navy SSB board in Bhopal. But I'd opted for the army. So he said, which force would you opt for? No, sorry, he knew because the form you have to say which force you want to opt for. So I'd said the army. So he said, why? And I said, what unit of the army? So I said, infantry. And he said, if you wanted your first posting, where would that be? I had said Siachen. I was like 19 years old, I think. I think 2611 was still fresh in memory. I'd seen some documentaries about Siachen. I think it was just more of a like, oh my God, it looks so exciting. What was like for you when you were posted to Siachen? What were your first thoughts and what was the experience like? Because we know a lot of the viewers who will be watching us or of the listeners who listen to us, they've seen those videos. They've seen those videos of eggs that don't break. They're like stones, potatoes that have to be smashed to bits, water that has to be like, boiled to even have a bath. What is it like on
So
Siachen?
before I answer your question, I'd like to thank my father for never telling me what Forge was all about. So, at times it's better to see things unfold while experiencing it rather than going with a mindset that, okay, it's going to be like this, it's going to be like this.
True.
So, it was a step taken right in the dark, pitch dark. So, not being aware of the terrain was a blessing to me. And when we landed in Thois,
So Thois is one of the forward locations in Ladakh.
I mean, it's a
in Ladakh.
tourist place now.
Yeah.
Diskit, everyone is visiting, so it's okay. I mean, internationally, everyone knows that it's our area, so it's okay. And that is where, when I landed, and when the door of the aircraft.
There is an airfield in
Yeah,
Paris, isn't
airfield
it?
there. So when the door opened, this sudden gust of wind actually hit my face, and I was like, dude. नैनीताल में तो इतनी बर्फ गिरती थी पर ऐसी हवा का झोंका
नैनीताल तो foothills है
with no snow around and with that chill air hitting your face which literally makes
And what
water
month,
come out
what
of your
month
eyes.
of the year was that?
I think it was October.
So still not peak
even
winter.
like-
not
No,
peak
no, no,
winter.
it did not come yet.
Wow.
The best was yet to come. Best in the sarcastic
Yeah,
way.
of course.
And these troops are looking at me, and then they look at the stars. The two stars on the shoulder, left and right.
Difference, man.
So they're like, साहब जोश अच्छा है पर कुछ पहन लो इससे पहले कि अब पैकअप हो जाओ. So पैकअप कैसे बीमार पड़ जाओगे तो पैकअप हो जाओगे फिर. You'll be blocked. Your respiratory system and
The weather
food.
packs up.
Yeah.
The weather packs up in the forge.
Yeah.
So हाँ कि आज weather खुला है या पैकअप है. So these things I learned later. And इसमें से आज तो साहब मौसम पैकअप है. मैं कहा पैकअप मतलब बादल आ गया ना तो वो
Backward.
सूरज का रास्ता बंद हो गया आज. मैं कहा अच्छा पैकअप. So Siachen, it was an emotional place for me because in 2010 there was a cloudburst
Yeah.
which happened in Leh, Ladakh and Siachen.
Yes.
So my platoon suffered a lot of collateral damage and loss of life. So the only saving grace was that my troops were training in Siachen Battle School, 90% of them. And there's a little element of troops which were at the actual location जहाँ पे cloudburst हुआ. So we lost one JCO and 10 other ranks. It took around 2 months.
Other ranks are, just for our viewers,
soldiers.
He'll be using a lot of
Fauji terms.
Fauji
Yeah,
terms, so
I'm
I'll
sorry.
break. Other ranks are soldiers of other ranks, Jawans,
Jawans
as you can say,
basically, yeah.
troops. And JCOs are, of course, junior commissioned officers
JCOs, yes.
who rise from the other ranks to
That's
be
the highest rank
Yeah.
amongst the soldiers.
yeah,
Right.
to be the bridge between
Officers,
the
yeah.
officers
Yeah.
and
the
the
soldiers.
soldiers. Yeah.
So that tragedy had struck the unit, and the unit was just, in the phase of coming out of that tragedy, where later on in the years of my service, many troops who got along well with me told me that, Saab, when you joined the Paltan, you were our ray of hope, because the kind of damage, the kind of pre-independence historical things which we actually lost in that were priceless. It was a
Really?
huge loss to the Paltan.
Like what?
71 war के epic कुछ हमारे पास trophies थी.
Oh.
There were few weapons which were captured from Pakistan side, few mementos.
What a tragedy.
And,
yeah. So your Paltan actually lost that in...
it got buried in there. So as far as it's in our motherland, it's okay. I really don't mind. But yeah, it was quite a hit. And then a new addition, when a new person comes into the family at the time of when you're trying to overcome tragedy, that is where people find hope.
Yeah.
There's change of atmosphere, because I was not aware of the ground reality ki how bad it was. Because जब तक मैं आया, things had little.
You were commissioned in 2011.
Yeah, 2011. ये 2010 August में हुआ था. And then I started, getting along with the troops and everything, and training shuru ho gayi. And it physically I was fit, and I felt like a stud. And nobody can beat me in 100 meters sprints and 5-kilometer runs, chin-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, जो मर्जी करा लो. You were like, एक वो God mode नहीं आ जाता that you are invincible कि हाँ. But that terrain of Himalayas is where actually the spirits of the gods at that height tell you, dude, अभी picture बाकी
Wake
है.
up in life.
Yeah, नहीं अभी picture बाकी है. And मेरी dining in थी. So
Dining in, again, our viewers, listeners need to
Is the first.
be told.
So when I joined the Paltan, I stayed with my troops in the barracks.
Okay.
So it's called line attachment. So I used to follow exactly the same drills what my troops used to do.
Which is again, I think, a normal tradition.
Yeah,
in most
getting up
regiments.
at 3:30 in the
No,
morning.
and to be with troops for the initial days.
Yes, yes.
Is something that is very common, I think, to all regiments.
Yes, getting acclimatized,
yeah.
getting
Right.
acquainted with the procedures.
Not staying
process.
in
The
officer
right,
accommodation.
Yes.
Not being.
No, we never had access.
Yeah, not
No
going to the
access,
mess.
Not allowed.
Not allowed to the mess.
You were out of bound.
Okay.
I mean, my 2IC used to say, Toor, I see you roaming around near officers' accommodation or place. I'll skin you alive. And I used to be in like attention. I'm like, right, sir. You vanish from here. You will be seen only there. I said, right. So, मेरे day one से ही फंडे clear कर दिए थे कि these are your troops. Follow their routine. Get to know what they do. Go to the different NCOs, the Havaldars and all, appointments.
Again, non-commissioned officers. See, the army has weird acronyms.
Yeah.
NCO, non-commissioned, OR, other ranks. हैं वो दोनों एक ही. तो एक ही नाम से बुला लो यार. Isn't it?
I wish it was so simple.
So recently, I read a tweet of who was it? One of the veterans who actually was taking a dig at their own that हर चीज का acronym है फौज में.
Yeah, but then I believe Navy में they're going to remove few ranks like petty officer and
Yeah,
एक तो
yeah.
जो
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
names
Some
which are a bit
controversy around
awkward.
that as well. Yeah.
So they're planning to
Yeah,
change it and get it uniform all over the
Yeah.
forces, three forces, tri-forces.
So anyway, so you were talking about.
So I got acquainted with them, their procedures, everything, because tomorrow if I tell a soldier that I want you to be here at 4 in the morning, to get to me at 4 in the morning, this guy has to get up at 2:30 to
Right.
clear up and get ready, take bath, do up his stuff, get his equipment, weapon, and everything ready, and then report to me at 3:30 or 4 in the morning. And I mean, it's not that you wish for it and like a genie, it pops up. It doesn't happen. So you get a very closer outlook to what their life is. It's a tough schedule.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And then मेरा डाइनिंग इन हुआ. डाइनिंग इन में ये क्या करते हैं?
Dining in क्या होता है तो बता दो.
Dining in is your
first time you're coming to the mess.
Yes.
Your officers are welcoming you.
Right.
So in literal sense जो लेफ्टिनेंट होते हैं ना तो कहते हैं बहू का स्वागत हो रहा है. What? कहते हैं yeah, welcome to the family. So you're new, so you got to step in. तो कई लोग तो ऐसे बोलते अब तो दाहिना पैर पहले रखना अंदर. Like यार ये क्या चल रहा है? So that's your first step into the officers arena. And once you move in, that is where, the sanctity, the achievements are actually on display about the Paltan and its reputation, its history, its heritage, its culture, its upbringing. And what it stands for is actually what you see and hear.
Yeah.
It's audio-visual. So I saw these trophies around 50, 60 years old, pre-independence trophy, named after a few British officers who commanded our Paltan. And there were write-ups regarding the Paltan's deployment in Afghanistan pre-independence mein. कि किस fort में we were deployed. That time Firozpur used to be the forward operating base ka support base. So all those Paltans moving towards Afghanistan, all the rations and everything was stocked up at Firozpur and sent via Lahore into Afghanistan. So all the write-ups were there, the logistics plans were there, part of history. So the legacy, you really feel proud that I've come where my ancestors were actually present who fought battles there.
Right.
So that, rakes up a matter of pride in you. You're all pumped up and Josh type that, come on, I'm not going to perish just like that. I am going to fight and lay down my life for this Paltan. That is where...
Paltan.
I noticed that, yes.
So my unit is my pride, Naam, Namak and Nishan.
Thank you for saying that because there is this misconception that... of course, everybody loves their country. That's why they're willing to fight there. But I have, as a defense journalist, not seen any chest thumping in the forces about how much we love our motherland. Of course, you love your motherland. I mean, it's a given.
Yeah.
That's why we are there.
Isn't it?
That's why
And
we are serving.
even if you don't wear a uniform, you can still love your motherland. But there is a growing culture these days to sort of reinforce it with the chest thumping. So thank you for saying that. My Paltan, Naam, Namak, Nishan, the core beliefs and the strong foundations, I think, of what the army is are these values.
And we are programmed that way.
Yeah.
And we feel out of place if we don't mention it. I mean, yaar, there's something amiss. तो कुछ रह गया है. So, it's like a birth into an organization. So, you teach a kid this is right, this is wrong. For the kid, it's going to forever be that is right, that is wrong. So, that is how we are brought up. So, dining in mein, that's the first interaction where they want the new officer to open up.
Yeah.
Because we are very formal. Chup rehte hain. And they say first 3-4 years, just keep shut and listen. Observe and listen. That's it. So observe, orient, and कहते decide and act is later on. Much later. कहते तुम पहले सुनो. And then that is where they try to get to know who you are. Background क्या है, siblings कौन है. Not that they are not aware of. Academy से हमारी एक dossier होता है, वो पहले ही पहुंच जाता है.
अच्छा.
दोसियर तो हर चीज का होता है फौज में.
कि ये इसका performance है. This is how he's done. This is what you've got.
Right.
And for me, getting into infantry was a easy bet because most of the officers dread that commando course.
And now it's compulsory. For quite a while, it's become
For
compulsory.
infantry, though, it always was.
Ah.
So for other arms, if it has become, well, that's a new thing to me. But
No, in infantry,
infantry, mein, it's compulsory.
was it always like since the time? I don't think so. I think it's a post-Kargil.
No, it's I think post Kargil
It's a
has become
post, yeah.
compulsory.
Yeah,
for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So infantry, though, it's Mecca Medina for you to attend it. And those who are not able to clear the commando course don't get to command their unit.
Yeah, this is
In the
definitely
later
post-Kargil.
stages,
Yeah.
So you have to be commando qualified. So there you get the actual baptism into commando operations. You are pushed psychologically beyond your comfort zone and limits, beyond your imagination. The beauty of it is you finish off with one segment and you are not aware what is the next class going to be, how far it is going to be, where it is going to be done. Totally blank. So the unknown factor is what keeps you up. So Siachen में मेरे dining in के time I was I think very many down, old monk, and मैंने जज्बाती होके and with that josh I told my CO, sir, I challenge you to send me to the most toughest post ever here in our sector. He said, grant the kid the wish. He's wished for too much. He is given, granted. And next day, I was totally out. I was
22,000
lost.
feet?
I was.
Where were you? What was the height that you were sent to?
I'll come to that later. In fact, I can't disclose the height in terms of exact figures.
I'm in the whereabouts, isn't it?
Between
22,000?
I was between 19 to 20 के बीच.
Okay.
Wow.
So वहाँ पे I got sloshed, kept vomiting. I lost all sense after my dining in. Ki dinner I refused to eat because I knew one spoon in, everything is out. So I requested leave. So may I be excused? I said, sure, we'll enjoy the meal for your dining in and you can proceed. I said, please escort the officer to his room and welcome to the Paltan and everything. And then
रूम भी नया मिला था, so
हाँ रूम भी नया मिला था.
खाना तो मिल जाता था.
वो
जवानों के साथ.
एंट्री भी करनी थी ना in the visitor book, my first entry.
Oh, wow.
I made my comments, everything. And I went in and मुझे ना उल्टा सुलवाया, facing downwards. And they made one soldier sit in my room, keep a watch. Because over the years, what has happened is, after dining ins where officers have drank so much and had food, Some have died while laying on the bed upright, facing the wall, because the vomit used to come out and used to go back into the lungs.
Oh.
And so they used to collapse.
Especially at those heights.
Yeah,
It's not-
so they used to collapse in
Wow.
their sleep. So over the years, everything, ना छोटे से छोटी चीज पता लगने लगती है. So I was under observation कि भाई ये ठीक तो है ना, just ensure he's facing normal. Next day evening, I got up at around 5 o'clock, and then took few medicines and everything. I was normal. By the time the second day came, I was told, prepare your stuff, you have to move. I prepared my kitting and everything. That is where, you know, that feeling that, yeah, now I'm going into operational mode.
Did you remember what you'd asked for?
No,
You didn't.
not yet. I got to know when I reached to the first
that your wish
point.
has been granted
हाँ,
by the man himself.
the man himself told me. I had to report to him. No, sir, I've reached this location today.
He reminded you that the wish has been
He
granted.
said, your wish is being granted, and do us proud. And it's a non-officer post. So, I mean, my jaws dropped, my non-officer post. I put the phone down. Then I asked, मैं कहा, उधर क्या ऑफिसर नहीं है क्या? कहते नहीं, वो ऑफिसर्स के लिए नहीं है, उधर JCOs जवान्स हैं. And it is one of the toughest climbs, and you're the first officer to be sent there. It was almost like कितना 60-degree gradient हो गया कुछ.
Wow.
And I had 20 kgs of rucksack of mine. In fact, the interesting part is जब मैं climb शुरू करने लगा, तो I will not forget this. Artillery का एक लड़का था, तो RTOP के बंदे आते हमारे पास, Artillery Observation Post के लिए. His name was Akshay Kumar. I mean, there's no connection with our esteemed actor, Mr. Akshay Kumar. So this boy sat down and started rubbing his chest. So I'm a typical Punjabi Khalsa. मैं क्या हो गया? साहब हल्का सा दर्द हो रहा है. So the one NCO said, साहब यहाँ बोला क्या कोई हल्का सा भी चेस्ट पे दर्द है उससे रहने दो. मैं कहा ये नहीं मरेगा, कुछ नहीं होगा इसको. मैं कहा अपना बैग दो मेरे को. And I took off my rucksack and I gave it to the porter. मेरे को वो तो सामान लेके जा रहे थे. So he got hold of my bag, and when I picked his bag up, my eyes literally came out of my sockets. My tongue was hanging like a towel. It was so damn heavy.
What was he carrying?
Extra ration from CSD, gulab jamun and rasgulle के डब्बे, Bonvita. मैं कहा वहाँ मतलब मैंने कहा इतना टाइम मिलेगा क्या? And are you even going to feel hungry to
No,
have?
you
all
can't
this?
even eat all this over there.
They didn't know ना. उस बेचारे का भी पहली बार था.
Wow.
And when I picked it up, मैंने कहा यार पंगा ले लिया यार. मैं कहा ठीक है. मैं कहा you walk in front of me. You fall behind and I'll have you. He started walking ahead and I was literally cursing myself. मैं कहा यार ये उड़ता हुआ तीर क्यों लिया. And then the jawans senior in service are telling me साहब थोड़ा तेज चलो ना, बस इतना ही जोश है. So you know in infantry you don't earn respect immediately. You got to earn it.
You have to earn it, yeah.
You got to prove yourself. So when I started walking up, एक दो जगह जब रेस्ट किया हमने, the you know few veteran मतलब senior in service, these soldiers came, they saw the bag and they kept it and they went aside and they were मतलब I knew कि आपस में बात कर रहे हैं. So they were aware कि साहब की बत्ती लग गई. He's had it today. And the guy who was holding his chest was purposely not coming in my sight. The guy was literally vanishing. कि सामने नहीं आना.
He didn't want to be blamed.
हाँ कि अगर मैं ठीक ठाक लगा तो मुझे पकड़ा देंगे वापस. So this guy vanished. And then we reached after 8 hours of continuous walk, uphill, straight, in between the mountain passes and everything. There were places where we were told not to speak also because of the echo, stones or something might come down.
Might fall.
Very quiet. River was frozen at patches, so we walked on the river as well. And then we reached, after 8 hours we reached, there I gave a report to the CO. That is when CO said that I'm sending you to one of the most challenging posts. It is to boost up the morale of the Paltan and the troops that new officer
has been sent there.
has been just sent there at the toughest location, it's definitely going to, push up the morale and push. And I reached, and it was a difficult post. And with time I learned, उस पोस्ट पे सारे डिफॉल्टर ही थे, जो गुंडे नहीं होते.
Defaulter.
All not listening properly, और कोई ना कोई नीचे बेस में पंगा कर रहा है, not taking orders.
तभी भेज दिया गया था.
मुझे भेज दिया, बोला
देखो.
either he'll be sorted out or he will sort them out. So it was vice versa. So that helped me shape up. That is one place where I mastered the art of patience.
Yeah. Big thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And that area.
The small personality traits that sometimes people don't realize. Something like patience. It's required not just in the forces, probably everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah, true.
All of us go through extremely, strenuous working negotiations.
Yeah.
So I have also mastered the art of patience pretty well in the last few years,
Yeah.
especially.
One last question on Siachen, something that we've talked about, but I really want to ask him. Among the civilians, there's this big question always. Why do we even have people on Siachen? We've had an entire episode on that, and Abhishek had a fantastic answer for that. Of the strategic importance of that glacier, how it dates back, and how a lot of what we are seeing on the China border and the LAC has to do with that region. But my question to you, I don't want any answers on kyun hota hai, but my question is ki, are the soldiers and the young officers there as aware? Because you are young, you probably haven't had time to read up on military history. I don't know, I'm just second guessing that much and understand the importance of, that tri-junction and POK and Pakistan and China on the right hand side and the LAC. Are the soldiers and officers posted there as aware of the strategic importance of that glacier, or is it just ki army mein hai, bola hai, jana to jana hai?
See, we are junior commanders. We have information on need to know basis.
Right.
What you are asking is of strategic level.
Yes.
That is for senior officers to attain and know. As far as I am concerned, as a new lieutenant, I am aware that my left domain to the right domain of my perimeter is this much stretch. This much part of the motherland has been given to me
Responsibility to sort of
As-
ensure that this.
an authority to not let it go into the hands of the enemy.
Right.
That is it.
That is it.
So I'm in a defensive position where I know not to question why, but to do and die. So I'm going to protect that part, and I'm not concerned कि मुझे आगे जाना है नहीं, because that is not my part of my role.
Right.
आगे जिससे जाना है वो कोई और आएगा. But whereas whoever is deployed there and then remains there and then to deny enemy an inch of our motherland. So these are the aspects, over there. And, बहुत सारी misconceptions वहाँ दूर होती हैं. They say na, that you reach another level of maturity in the Himalayas. I felt I was physically super fit. The moment I reached my post, I vomited almost 1 liter of water. My head was heavy and a lot of congestion. वो condensation effect नहीं होता. So much of breath. In fact, there was ice formed outside my balaclava, at my nostrils and my face wali side. मेरा जो breathing pattern था, there was ice formed. My eyelashes had ice, eyebrows had ice onto them. And that is, once I vomited, I felt so light, and I felt there was extra weight in me. I felt much better. And the nursing assistant said that had you not vomited all that out, you would have been down with HAPO or HACO.
HACO is high altitude.
Pulmonary edema or
basically,
cerebral edema, swelling.
Basically, high altitude
Sickness, basically.
More than sickness.
But
It's
it's a fatality.
serious,
Yeah.
it's a serious situation.
Wow.
And then, that place, -43, तुम hot water bottle, boiling water उस पे डालते हो, it doesn't go beyond 35 minutes. और दोबारा ठंडा हो जाता है. You have the best of equipment, but still you are feeling cold. You got to go to the loo, you got to time it, not beyond 180 seconds. So we got to go, alarm जैसे ही बजता है ना, 180 seconds हो गए, you wind up and you fall back.
Wow.
Blizzards are so bad. I mean, एक दो बार गलती से मेरी एक दो shirts बाहर रह गई थी. They literally froze. And when the troops got my shirt ऐसे, साहब ये तो आपका जम गया. It literally, they just like पापड़ नहीं होता थे, my बड़ी shirt collapsed.
Wow.
He said, साहब, don't leave your clothes like this. So these were learning lessons. कहते सुखाना है, if blizzard is coming, you put it in the FRP. There's a line there, you put it there. Then एक ventilation के लिए window खुला रहता था. So I used to say, यार इतनी ठंड है, कहते हैं जो अंदर जो कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड जो हीट होता है कैरोईटर का, it has to go out.
Go out, yes. It needs ventilation.
So these were learning lessons. And then hand and foot parade होता है फ्रॉस्ट बाइट को अवॉइड करने के लिए ना, वो चाय पत्ती के पानी में शलगम को उबाल के उसके पानी में हाथ और पैर धोने हैं, ठीक है. Then sponge bath. I mean, when you come to a new place, the troops have all these stories there. So one of the senior havaldars over there at my location told me that साहब नॉर्थ ग्लेशियर में कोई साउथ का लड़का था, उसने बोला कि वो नहाएगा, वो नहा लिया, गर्म पानी से ही नहा लिया, और पानी इतना भी गर्म नहीं था, नॉर्मल टाइप का था. He passed away due to hypothermia within few hours. He said, मतलब कि गलती से भी don't take a bath. You want to take bath? Dettol वाले पानी में take this sponge. वो हमें issue होती थी. This is your sponge. We used to wipe ourselves off and everything.
Wow.
Socks and all we used to wash on regular basis, our briefs and everything. So health and hygiene was of prime concern there. Because मेरा cut-off post था. I was there for 4 months and 23 days. I was the last one to come down. And challenge ये था, how do you keep your troops motivated when you know that you have no backup? When you know that after snowfalls there is nobody coming to you. Even your ration is stocked up. There is nothing new which is going to reach to you.
Yeah.
And I had an NCO who came down with ulcers because we were having the tent food. It didn't suit him. He started vomiting blood. To literally, I called up every damn place to get him evacuated. फिर उसको ड्रिप लगा रहे थे. That drip का पानी used to freeze in 2 minutes. Then I said, how do we manage? वो ड्रिप के वो वायर को ऐसे ऐसे करना पड़ रहा था so that it goes into him. And बहुत सारी metal biting होती है. You can't touch metal. My skin will come off. So हर एक चीज़ पे weapons से लेके door handles को लेके cooking utensils को लेके पट्टियाँ चढ़ी हुई थी उनके वहाँ पे. Food where it takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes to boil used to take half an hour to boil. And you are at such an altitude, there is very less oxygen. So after every 10 steps you have to wait. You have to breathe. Once your breath normalizes, you literally count another 10 steps. Because the shoes that you're wearing is 2.5 kg one shoe. So you're already dragging 5 kgs. Then you have a backpack of 20-25 kgs. You have your weapon with you.
Just to put this into perspective, even if you reach Leh, the first day can be slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Leh is 10,000 feet. Isn't it? 10,000, 11,000. He's talking about 20,000.
Yeah. But what I'm wondering as you describe this, is it even physiologically possible to fight if there's a need to in those conditions? I mean,
I doubt whether the bullet has been fired after Kargil in that area.
yeah, it hasn't. I know.
So it's more of a fight against
The
survival
nature.
and
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
Because I remember during my time, there was a very big avalanche that came in Gyari sector in Pakistan. And literally, India gave them a call that if you require assistance, you will please let us know. So they said, no, please maintain status quo. And I think they lost 135 troops
Oh.
in one go. So we all knew that it is a fight against the terrain. Enemy तो है ही है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
ठीक है, but they dare not because see, it's as you said, it's humanly very challenging to even run there. I mean, आपके hip तक तो आइस आ जाती है. वे crevasse है. You go into the crevasse, you don't survive for more than half an hour. I mean, वही मैं कह रहा था ना, it's life on the edge. You just don't know when your turn comes. And you are actually prepared also for it. So वही जैसे मैंने बियर बाइसेप्स के पॉडकास्ट पे भी बोला था ना, once I'm in. Now my fight is how to get out of it, how to tackle it, how to deal with it. Because once you're already there, so that is where the psychological restructuring, your psychological DNA restructures at these places. You got to accept what is coming your way. You can't fight against time, so you master the art of patience. You master the art of flexibility, that you can't be rigid with your troops. If he says it can't be done in this way, this is better, you got to know the pros and cons and you got to accept it. You got to apply yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, kandhe pe tare lage doesn't mean, okay, I want this, it just
Happens.
appears or happens. No. So you got to accept reality there. And more than that, what was the most dreadful and terrifying thing is bande ko kuch na ho jaye. Because how am I going to be answerable? I mean, it's not worth losing your life without being hit by the enemy bullet, or that's the best way a soldier can go.
Yeah.
So, but not like this. I mean, that I used to keep telling myself, I can't lose a guy like this. Not at least by nature consuming us. I will not let that happen. So, fight was tough psychologically, physically. All misconceptions get clear, So, yes, it was a challenging terrain. And I never boast, but it was a difficult terrain. I accept the fact. And I feel it's the privileged ones who go to experience it. And you learn a lot of tactical survival drills over there.
Yeah.
So how to survive in that terrain, how to keep yourself warm. If you are abandoned, what are the things that will keep you alive? So all these things you're trained for. The knots and crosses, the uses of ladders, hooks, rock climbing, the rock craft, mountain craft, how to rescue somebody with the help of Jumar and ropes. You master the art. How to climb onto a steep slope with only your crampons on, and then later on with the help of your ice axe. Then how to, overcome a overhang. That is, you are coming and then you are literally half in the air and you have to climb something which is actually an overhang.
It's above you, basically.
Above you.
Yeah.
For that, you need a lot of core strength.
Yeah.
So it pushes you physically and mentally. At times मुझे physically लगता क्या है यार, यहाँ पे तो गोली भी नहीं चलनी है या चली भी नहीं है तो but why? But later on I realized
I think that's the question
the
that he was
question,
asking.
that this is it. That when the bullet goes, this is what is going to keep me alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And जब वहाँ पे गोली चलेगी, it can have massive consequences to
Everywhere,
the
even
defense of the country.
Yeah.
Tell me, when Galwan happened, it was all hand-to-hand fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Because once a bullet is fired,
Then it's
the
free for all.
The dynamics of warfare and tactics change immediately.
Well, I can tell you, post Galwan bullets were fired. Post Galwan.
I'm aware,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I it's better I don't mention few things.
No, I'm aware. I mean,
Good enough.
yeah, and ठीक है, certain things were not said officially, but
But they were shown their place and they did back out because they knew that they were going against a tactical position which was beyond their comprehension. So they
you mean only in Galwan?
somewhere in that area.
Yeah. So it's a give and take that is happening.
Yeah. They tried to
Quid-
reach few
Quid
places.
pro quo, isn't it?
They tried to reach few places
Yeah.
before our troops, but
Yeah.
to their surprise, our troops were already there
Mm-hmm.
with the good weapon profile already pointing towards them. That hi guys, what's up? Acha, you reached? Yeah, you're too late for the party. It's better you go back. So they did go back. So yeah, it's called dog diplomacy. You keep patting the dog till you find a good stone to hit it and shoot away. ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा.
ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा. That's the thing. Yeah.
Right. Fantastic chat so far. And Abhishek, I've always heard and, I've always read this sentence that army men are great storytellers. And this is the first time I'm experiencing it. You obviously are privileged compared to me. So you must have definitely experienced this more. But this is my first experience. And, we could just go on and on. Because
there is no end
so many
to
stories.
these stories.
Every
There's
single
no-
day of an army officer or a soldier's life is almost a story, I think.
I have, while visiting, especially forward areas, I've been up literally all night listening to stories.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a mess or somewhere, and somebody. It's not everybody in that group that will be a storyteller. There'll usually be one guy
person.
who'll steal the show.
Yeah.
But there's always that one guy
Right. So
who would be a storyteller.
Yeah, and that's what I'm experiencing, and it's been a very, very fun chat, and in fact, so fun that I think we're gonna have to break this up actually.
Yeah, this will get too long for one
it'll
episode.
Get too long. Yeah, it'll get too long for our viewers, our listeners, for us as well, I guess. So what we'll do is, we'll keep chatting, but we'll release the second part of this discussion next week. So our listeners and viewers can come back, join us next week. Till then, stay safe and do not cross any boundaries without a passport. See you soon.